Birbal's Mango of Justice. In the grand city of Agra, Emperor Akbar's court, his royal darbar, was the heart of all matters important and small. One sweltering morning, after a ferocious monsoon storm had raged through the night, two men burst into the hall, shouting over one another. They were Harish and Samir, neighbors whose shared fence line had been washed away by the floodwaters. Between their lands stood a magnificent mango tree, its branches heavy with ripening fruit, and now, with the boundary marker gone, both men claimed it as their own. "It is mine, your majesty," bellowed Harish, a man whose eyes darted about greedily. "I was counting the mangoes just yesterday." "No, it is mine," insisted Samir, a quieter man with soil-stained hands. "I have tended its roots since it was a sapling." Emperor Akbar stroked his grand mustache, perplexed by the dilemma. Harish, puffing out his chest, spoke first. "That tree's fruit is the sweetest in the district. My family has been dreaming of those mangoes. The storm is a sign from the heavens that it should belong to me, as I am the one who will make the most of its bounty." Samir then stepped forward, bowing respectfully. "Your Majesty, a tree is more than its fruit. For 10 years, I have watered it during droughts, protected its trunk from pests, and chased away monkeys who would break its young branches. My claim is written not on a map, but in the health and strength of the tree itself." The emperor looked from one man to the other. Both spoke with passion, and with no boundary marker, it was one man's word against the other's. Finding no easy answer, Emperor Akbar turned to his most trusted advisor. "Birbal," he said, his voice echoing in the silent hall, "you have untangled thornier knots than this. How do we find the truth?" Birbal stepped forward, a faint smile playing on his lips. He looked at the two angry neighbors, and then at the emperor. "A tree knows its own master, your majesty," Birbal announced calmly. "Let us not ask the men, but the tree itself. Here is my decree. For the next 10 days, both Harish and Samir will care for the tree. They must work together. When the first mango ripens and falls of its own accord, they will not eat it. They will bring it here and present it to a child from the city's orphan home. Then we shall have our answer." The test began the very next morning. Samir arrived at the tree at dawn. He saw how the storm had washed soil away from the tree's base, exposing its delicate roots. He spent the morning carefully carrying rich earth from his own garden and packing it gently around the roots, giving them a new, firm bed. He then fetched buckets of water, letting the cool liquid seep deep into the ground. He noticed the fence, though uprooted, had sound wooden posts. He began to patiently dig new holes, planning to rebuild the fence stronger than before to protect the tree from stray cattle. He worked with a quiet focus, humming a soft tune. Harish, on the other hand, arrived much later, grumbling about the morning heat. He offered no help. Instead, he sat in the shade of the tree, his eyes fixed on the green gold fruit hanging above. "You are watering it too much," he complained to Samir. "You will dilute the sweetness of my mangoes." When Samir was busy mending the fence, Harish crept to the tree and gave a low-hanging branch a sly, sharp shake, hoping a mango might fall. When none did, he scowled and began weaving a net, planning to catch any fruit before it even touched the ground, which he considered his rightful property. He saw only the prize, not the provider. Unseen by either man, Birbal watched the proceedings. Dressed not in his fine court silks but as a humble merchant, he observed them from the Jaroka window of a nearby building. He saw Samir patiently rebuilding the fence, post by post. He saw Harish arguing with a passing goat herder, claiming the goat was trying to eat his future fruit. He saw Samir share his lunch with a thirsty traveler, while Harish jealously guarded his own food, hiding it under a cloth. Birbal nodded to himself. The tree, in its silence, was speaking very clearly. Each man's actions were revealing the contents of his heart. On the 10th and final day, a single, perfect mango, blushed with the colors of the sunrise, hung heavy on its stem. As instructed, a young girl from the orphan home, named Priya, was brought to the tree to be the judge. The sun warmed the mango, and a soft breeze whispered through the leaves. With a gentle snap, the stem gave way, and the mango fell with a soft thump onto the green grass. It was perfect, glowing like a jewel. Priya's eyes widened with delight. Samir smiled, happy that such a beautiful fruit would go to a deserving child. Before Samir could even move, Harish lunged. He snatched the mango from the grass, holding it up like a trophy. "It is mine. The test is over. I claim the tree and all its fruit," he shouted, his face triumphant. Little Priya's smile vanished, and her shoulders slumped in disappointment. She looked at the mango in Harish's hand, a treasure that had been promised to her, but was now being hoarded by this selfish man. Harish didn't even notice the little girl's sadness. He was too busy admiring his prize, turning it over and over in his hands. Samir did not get angry. He simply walked over to Harish and spoke in a calm, steady voice. "Friend," he said, "that mango is a gift. It does not belong to you or me. It belongs to the tree that grew it and the community that it shades. Let us honor Birbal's decree. We will give this fruit to young Priya. Then, let us take its seed and plant a new tree together on our new boundary line. In that way, we both win, for our children will one day share the fruit of our cooperation." Harish was stunned into silence, clutching the mango, unable to understand Samir's generosity. "Well said, Samir," a familiar voice boomed. Birbal stepped out from behind a nearby cart, his merchant's disguise gone. The emperor and his guards were right behind him. Birbal addressed Harish, his voice clear and firm. "For 10 days we have watched. You, Harish, have only watched the fruit. You have guarded the prize. But Samir has guarded the tree itself. He fed its roots, mended its fence, and protected its future. A man who only wants the prize is a taker. A man who cares for the source of the prize is a true caretaker. The tree belongs to Samir." Emperor Akbar roared with laughter, his voice echoing through the clearing. "Birbal, your wisdom is as sweet as any mango, a brilliant and just solution." He then made his final judgment. The boundary was to be redrawn, giving the magnificent mango tree to Samir's care. Harish was given a small, barren plot at the edge of the village to tend, so he might learn the value of nurturing something from the beginning. Furthermore, the emperor decreed that the first basket of mangoes from the tree each year would be sent to the city's orphan home, a tradition that would last for generations. Shamed, but having learned a lesson, Harish accepted the judgment. The very next day, Samir did not celebrate his victory alone. He found Priya, and, together, they took the seed from that first perfect mango. They dug a small hole right on the newly drawn boundary line, next to the newly repaired fence. They planted the seed together, patting the soil down and giving it its first drink of water. One tree had caused a problem, but a new tree, planted in a spirit of generosity and fairness, was now the symbol of a peaceful future.